I didn't drink any coffee. I didn't drink any. It's cold now. Yeah.
The Ohio News Network. This is Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
It's been a full year now since our whole world changed and Ohio's school buildings closed as the first COVID-19 cases were detected in our state. I couldn't be prouder of the work of all of Ohio's educators in that time. Teaching never stopped, learning never stopped, and our educators have never wavered in their dedication to reach and teach their students. Thank you.
Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
The 2021 Honda ATV lineup is here to prove it's possible to work smarter and harder. With the power to get the job done, the technology to make it easier, and tried and tested quality to keep you moving forward, the only thing left to add is you. Then you'll understand how life is better on a Honda. Honda recommends ATVs for riders 16 years and older and recommends that all ATV riders take a training course.
Live and local conversation for the Ohio Valley continues shortly here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Say I love living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Dutch Boy's new Platinum Plus paint with Stain Shield technology has the performance you expect from a luxury paint at a price you didn't. Platinum Plus is up to 50% more washable and stain resistant than a leading premium paint in satin sheen. Superiority ranges from 24 to 50% depending on sheen selected. Platinum Plus keeps your walls looking new longer. Menards and Dutch Boy paint have you covered. Go ahead, live your life.
Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Savings or mail-in rebate. See store for details.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
The 2021 Honda ATV lineup is here to prove it's possible to work smarter and harder. With the power to get the job done, the technology to make it easier, and tried and tested quality to keep you moving forward, the only thing left to add is you. Then you'll understand how life is better on a Honda. Honda recommends ATVs for riders 16 years and older and recommends that all ATV riders take a training course.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Friday. Mostly cloudy and windy. A daytime high near 67 degrees. The overnight low of 47 with a few sprinkles and mostly cloudy skies through the overnight. You'll see clouds and sunshine mixing for your Saturday with highs near 73. Have yourself a great day, everyone, and a good weekend. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Do you know what time it is?
Do you know what time it is? It's time to celebrate National Spinach Day.
It is March 26th. It is National Spinach Day.
Eat your spinach.
National Spinach Day.
I got this can of spinach.
Dude, is this spinach?
It's supposed to eat the spinach. I'm strong to the spinach because I eat the spinach.
3, 2, 1. It's showtime.
News, information, conversation, controversy, and fun. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Yesterday was National Waffle Day, and boy, I made a big deal about how, oh yeah, I want waffles. I want waffles with maple syrup and butter on them. Yeah, it's good. Today is National Spinach Day. No, thank you. I don't think so. I'll just pass National Spinach Day by. I know I've told the story many times on the air before. When I was a kid, and I loved Popeye. I am what I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish because I eat my spinach. And of course, every Popeye did you ever watch Popeye, Biffy? It was before your time, but...
No, I was never a Popeye fan.
Never a Popeye fan? No. Popeye and Olive Oil and Bluto and all right, well, I know I'm showing my age here with this, but Popeye, he would always, the first half of the cartoon, he would have troubles and problems and try and fix things and couldn't. And then at the end, he would pop open a can of spinach and gulp that spinach down, boing, and his muscles would pop up and he would beat down Bluto and life would go on because spinach was like the superpower pill that he took. And as a kid, I believed that. So I would tell my mom every time she would go to the store. I remember this so well. And this is back in the days before we had Kroger's. We might have gone to the A&P or the Buy Right. But we'd go to the store and she would, and we'd go pay, and I'd say, Mama, spinach, let's get the spinach. And she would say, son, you don't like spinach. You never eat the spinach. And I would always go, but I want the spinach now. And bless her heart, because she always did what I wanted to do, she would buy me the spinach and we would get it home and it'd be barely out of the bag and barely stuff put away, and I would go, oh, yeah, spinach. Let me have some, Mommy, let me have the spinach. She'd open up the can, and I'd go, oh, God, I hate this. And it would go straight in the trash can again, like it did and then the next time she went to the store, and I would go with her, Mommy, get some spinach. Give me the spinach. You don't like spinach. I want spinach. Okay, I'll get you spinach. Let's try it now. Oh, no, good. That was, I guess I was stubborn back then. Really, Nancy? That just popped out of her mouth back then. Jeez, then.
That was just out of nowhere.
She was just passing through. I guess she felt an urgent need to say it. Before I get to John, the survey is out, and so this is kind of interesting. Well, my daughter-in-law has been getting a little distressed with me lately. Because Teddy has become a backseat driver. And she firmly believes it's because I'm a frequent backseat driver. And of course, when Teddy is around, I sit in the back seat, Teddy's in his little car seat, and I sit with him, and my wife she drives up front. And my daughter-in-law says, you are the one, you're always yelling, and now the little boy is doing it. Here are the top 10 things that cause arguments in a car. And I got to say, some of these I have to say I complain about, and then Teddy has picked up on them as well. Now, number 10, driving tired. I will sometimes say to my wife, you sure you're okay? I feel like you're a little bit tired today. I take naps. She doesn't believe in naps, so that's one. Number 9, staying in the middle of the lane the whole time. Teddy will tell her, you're swerving. You're swerving. My car always keeps you in the middle of the lane, so you don't have to worry about that. Number 7, not using turn signals. Teddy gets so upset. Grandma, you turned and didn't turn that blinker on. No, he didn't call it a blinker. Flasher? Something. Speeding. This is the one that gets me in trouble. This is the one that gets me in trouble, and then Teddy. Say, honey, are you watching your speed? Yes, I'm watching my speed. Well, the speed limit is 35. I'm going 38. Okay. And then Teddy says, Grandma, you're going too fast. And then that's when I get in trouble. Braking at the last minute, if there's a light coming up, I sort of ease into it, right? I slow down, and so I'm stopped at the light. My wife likes to just drive, red light, bam! And we all go, whoa. I'll complain about that. And again, Teddy will, Grandma, you stopped too fast. Tailgating, Teddy will point out about that. Grandma, you're too close to that car in front of you. And the number one thing that prompts arguments in the car is using your phone while driving. Now, we have in both of our cars the speaker system, so we can use the phone without, taking our eyes off the road or hands off the wheel. But my wife, and I do love her so much. I don't know where she is. I gotta be careful. My wife is driving and loves to play in her purse. She's over here reaching for something. What are you reaching for? I need my chapstick. No, you don't. No, you don't. Not right now, you don't. What are you reaching for over there? I need, I'm looking to see where I put my credit card. Are you buying something right now while you're driving? No, please leave the purse alone. I guess maybe my daughter-in-law's right. Maybe Teddy is picking up cues from me about this. All right, John McCabe is here with us, newspaper editor extraordinaire from the Intelligencer and News Register. Good morning, John.
Howard, how are you?
Do you you probably do the driving. You do the manly thing.
I do the driving, yes.
Yeah. I sometimes feel like driving Miss Daisy. I'm in the back seat with Teddy, and my wife does the driving.
So you're Miss Daisy in this scenario.
In this scenario, I am Miss Daisy sitting. Yes.
That kind of fits in a lot of ways. So, I tell you mentioned I had a woman, a driver, female driver. I was on a road the other day, and my wife was in the car with me. She could not. I mean, I think there must have been like $1 million bill stuck on my bumper because she tried to get her car as humanly close to that as possible to grab it. It was rather frustrating. So I was doing about 8 miles an hour on this windy road, just to show her my appreciation for her getting as close as she could. There was nowhere for her to pass, so it was really a fun drive.
I've done that before. I understand what you're saying. My line often is, of course, if my wife is driving and she gets too close to the car in front, I'll ask her, "Do you want to see what radio station they're listening to?" Is that why we're doing this? You want to see what radio station they're listening to?
So hey, you said something earlier that had me thinking. I think this should be the No Fight Friday segment from here on out. We can just talk about all the good things happening in Wheeling, all the positive developments that our city leaders are doing, and it'll be about a 30-second segment, and then we can go back to our work days.
I was going to say, that's not going to work, John. You know that, right?
When I was driving to work today, I was so happy and pleased that I could drive on a pockmarked road on Main Street. It really made my morning pleasant to just run over every bump, and those rumbles really make you feel alive at 7:30 in the morning, 7:15. It really kind of jars you awake, maybe when you're sleeping. So I mean, there's some good. You can no one will ever fall asleep driving down Main Street. We'll never have someone fall asleep and run into a car. That's for certain.
I don't know whether I'm just getting grumpier in my old age. I guess I am. Because these are not new problems. All the roads in the Ohio Valley have been in horrible shape for years now. But I am just reaching the end of my rope. There is no ability to go anywhere in this Ohio Valley. I mean, without boom, 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 boom. It's just, I'm really getting irritated. And I know the downtown, the concept, the streetscape, we're waiting for it. And I get all the arguments as to why. But God, there is nothing in the Ohio Valley, certainly in Wheeling, this just not an absolute potholed mess.
It's everywhere, and I think one of the things I'm really concerned about, and maybe there's no reason for my concern, but the city has gotten a fair chunk of stimulus money as the state has. I wonder at some point, and I know there are some regulations in how it can be used, but I wonder at what point, particularly if the governor doesn't get his income tax plan and he wants to be spiteful, that the state DOH comes back or the Department of Transportation comes back and says, hey, we're not going to be able to fund that as much. You have extra money. You're going to have to fund more of the streetscape project. I could easily see that happening because that's just how things work in this state. It's just a lot of things. Again, the roads. We went for a drive a couple weeks ago, and the roads and out through kind of rural Marshall County, where you see a lot of gas activity. The roads are just beat to death.
It's just again, it's not new. It's just getting worse. I think. Mm-hmm. It's really getting on my nerves anymore. And
I think part of the, and not that I want to spend much time on it, but I think the biggest part of the problem is the state has done a lot of work. But when you drive through areas that just, 2 years ago had a slip repaired and repaved, it's not holding. I don't know if they're not, and, don't want to invest the money to do it really well. And so instead they just essentially patch it. Obviously this past winter was hard on the roads because of the amount of snow and hence the amount of cinders and salt, et cetera, that's used, which is tough on the roads. But going through Marshall County, those areas where you had some real bad slips and that were paved and were pretty good for about a year are now not. 470, which was just paved a few years ago, is pothole laden. The skim coat of the kind of that anti-skid coat they put up at the Highlands coming down 2 Mile Hill is all torn apart. So I don't know what the right answer is with a lot of this. It just doesn't seem like these things hold up very well anymore. I don't know if that's just the grade of the asphalt.
The answer is to do it right and to put more money into doing it right, and that requires more money, which takes me to the legislature, which is, instead of fiddling around with some of the things they've been fiddling around with, we ought to be focusing on the things that people care about, like their roads. I've said this 1,000 times in the last few years. when I was a younger person, it used to be the two things that every politician said they want to make sure were right were roads and schools. Mm-hmm. Those are the two things they want to spend their time there for their money on. And we get, what's the word I'm looking for here? You know, they will say words about the roads, but we don't get a lot of extra money put into our road work. And the governor issued a couple press releases this week, I noticed, on how many potholes he's filled and all that kind of good stuff. Although I say he's filled, I haven't seen him out there shoveling. But, we got to be focused. That's probably the number one priority in terms of people caring, more so than some of the other stuff that's been dealt with down in the legislature. Let's fix the roads. I know I'm sounding like one of this grumpy old man and the kind of people that call talk shows all the time that irritate me a little bit, but God, I can't take it. Since you brought it up, I'm just getting so frustrated by it.
Yeah.
Hey, your point about the streetscape is really
it's
I worry
just something
about
that could be a concern. Did you watch the Biden press conference yesterday?
I watched parts of it. Yes, I did. Uh-huh.
What did you take away, just real quick? Because I have a takeaway that maybe you won't have. So why don't you go ahead and go first?
I'm not sure what I took away from it. I thought he handled himself well. He answered the questions well. I thought, the reporters, as reporters tend to do, and did this with Donald Trump and do with him, kind of want to create some more controversy as opposed to dealing with the things he wanted to talk about. He came in to talk about COVID. I mean, he came in to have a press conference, but he started out talking about COVID, and they quickly shuffled it off to some other things.
Well, that's where
I thought he did a good job.
I thought he did an okay job, sure. It was funny, the people who, those kind of the furor that happened that came up over I've been in the Senate for 120 years. Good laugh. You're allowed to have we're all allowed to make fun of ourselves. That, people cannot get mad about us making, a little bit of self-deprecating humor. But I really think, and this has maybe just been a growing concern for me, some of the questions that were asked, and I'm always one to defend our colleagues in the media, but some of the questions were just, the young lady who kept asking, are you going to run for re-election? Are you going to run for re-election? I mean, the guy's been in office for 2 months. There are more pressing issues.
What a ridiculous question it was.
And then to just keep pushing it. And I just had time to thought, this is what's wrong, is everyone is so worried about how they can find some quick clickbait, as opposed to asking, you just came out of this summit with China, contentious summit, Secretary of State Blinken and yourself and the Chinese, ambassador who did a rather, have you seen what he said? Basically, in their mind, the end of, the era of Western dominance is coming to an end. And they're, again, the Chinese think in centuries in terms of planning. We're thinking, or you've been in office 2 months, are you going to run again in 20 months?
You can run again.
And there's some real issues on the world stage that we're involved with as a nation, and not hardly a single question. The border questions were okay. I thought they could have been a little more pointed in a few areas. But the whole thing with Putin, I think, is real concern. Russia's not a major concern, in terms because they just don't have any money. But the Chinese are a major concern right now, and they're tired of, and I just was reading some additional things last night, they're tired of the West setting the agenda or believing it sets the agenda for the rest of the world, and they're, that's a real issue for Biden to deal with.
Well, I think in terms of the press corps, first of all, White House press have never been particular, unless you have an occasional person who's really a foreign affairs specialist. White House press is very seldom interested in international affairs. Mm-hmm. I mean, you normally get more of that if someone's covering the Pentagon or something. And that's not a good thing. I'm just saying that's a fact of life. The White House press is not really up to speed on the sort of thoughtful policies on international affairs. But I also think what's happening right now, and so I think actually you and I are going to agree on this, I think the press has been so used to the last 4 years, I don't want to call it gotcha. I don't feel it's that way, but they have tried. They have been sort of forced to push hard, and really push back against Donald Trump. That they haven't given that attitude up yet, and I think they're still trying to find. They're trying to find something that instead of getting information, they're trying to try to trip him up or trick him up or something. I don't know quite if I'm expressing myself well, but But I agree with you. It was the press that bothered me more than Biden.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
In terms of the things that were asked, and in particular, I did not see the question. It popped up on my phone. Biden says he is right now. I forget how I phrased it. Well, I think right now I'm thinking about running for re-election. Whatever he said, popped up on my phone, and I thought, what the heck? I mean. He's barely been in office. Who's talking about re-election? And I didn't see the question being asked, but I thought it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And his answer probably was about the best you could give, as I understand it, basically, which is, well, I don't know. I guess right now I'm thinking about it.
A few more pressing issues on the stage than whether I'm going to run again in 4 years. Yeah, but
I was talking
anyway.
to someone the other day who asked me, said, do you think you'll be covering the next presidential election? I said, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I didn't think I'd be around to cover this election. I kind of thought maybe retirement would come along. I don't know what it's going to be.
Exactly.
So who knows? I need to do a break now because we're taking some time.
Sure.
We need to get into. There's a little dust up that's happened in the city of Wheeling, and every day something new comes along.
We talked about roads already.
Yeah, well, Bluefield State, the MOU, and the local colleges and universities. It's just and now it looks like a couple of local institutions are, I won't say fighting back, but are trying to respond in a different way. So
I don't think there's any response. I think Bluefield's deal, I don't see how it moves forward now. So
we'll talk about it coming up in a minute. Got to do a quick break. 9:30 in the morning, news time here on the Watchdog Morning Show.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
You said it, and I came back and said, I said the same thing. I walked out the door. You're good. Got somewhere to go? I need to take a nap. Okay. It's early today, so I got to move. That's awesome. Are you going to keep the permanent?
The Pirates, losers to the Baltimore Orioles by the score of 10-9. 12 and 11 Pirates host the Detroit Tigers this afternoon in Bradenton. 8 teams, 4 games set for Saturday in Sweet 16 Madness. Loyola of Chicago will face Oregon State. Villanova will meet number 1 seed Baylor. And Cinderella or Roberts will take on Arkansas. Syracuse will face Houston. Hey, be safe out there. Be considerate of others. Please check on the elderly. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
I'm Big Rick, host of Real Big Talk, weekday afternoons on the Watchdog. This show is about the now in our world. Breaking stories, local, statewide, national, and around the world discussed right here on the Watchdog. Join me, Lola, and other folks from the Valley as we discuss news as it happens. What is Real Big Talk? Well, it's an honest conversation that you can be a part of no matter which way you lean. Real Big Talk, weekdays on the Watchdog.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This concludes this test of the emergency alert system. If this had been an actual emergency, you would have been told where to tune for news and official information. WKKX serves the Wheeling operational area.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I love living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Hello, I'm Chuck Reddick, Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service. We're working hard to get ready for tax filing season. You know who else is working hard? Identity thieves. Keep your computers and your mobile phones secure. Use antivirus software and strong passwords. Look out for email scams. Secure your home Wi-Fi with a password. Stay safe when you shop online. Look for HTTPS in the web address. See irs.gov for details.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it.
Hey, Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing!
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
The 2021 Honda ATV lineup is here to prove it's possible to work smarter and harder. With the power to get the job done, the technology to make it easier, and tried and tested quality to keep you moving forward, the only thing left to add is you. Then you'll understand how life is better on a Honda. Honda recommends ATVs for riders 16 years and older and recommends that all ATV riders take a training course.
My little girl hurt her foot and needed a doctor fast, but her physician wasn't available, and I wanted her seen as soon as possible. Then I remembered the Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care, right in downtown Wheeling at the Stone Center on Market Plaza. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, the center is ideal if you have a sudden sickness or injury. The doctors and nurses were great, and they also provided x-rays, a pharmacy, and lab draw station. No appointments needed, and convenient parking is nearby. Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care. They'll take good care of you.
Brookside, the watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hobby Kercheval, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. Brookside trusts the watchdog.
Here's a look at the Ohio Valley Local News Weekend Review with newspaper editor John McCabe and Howard Monroe.
Still looking at 60 degrees with some winds blowing around in the 25, 28 degree an hour sustained range. Might see some gusts. We had some 40 miles an hour earlier. High wind advisory technically in effect until this afternoon, although Zach had said probably by this time of the morning the worst of the winds would be passed by. Coming up today after 10 o'clock, statewide talk line. Among Hoppy Kercheval's guests, former Senate President and gubernatorial candidate Bill Cole ran against Jim Justice, who has now formed a political organization to push for the passage of Governor Justice's tax plan. Also on the talk line today, General Jim Hoyer, the head of the COVID task force. Brad McElhenney brings all the statewide news together. And Hoppy will be talking about New York State legalizing recreational marijuana, something that some folks like the Puppet Master think would be a good idea in West Virginia. And, of course, most importantly, because it's a Friday, Hoppy Kercheval has Steam Release, where you can let go on anything at all, and Hoppy cannot respond. Coming up today on Statewide Talk Line. And real quick, Biffy, we have games tonight, right?
Yes, we do. We have Wheeling Park at John Marshall tonight at 7:30.
Okay, and what's the rest of the weekend? I don't have my schedule in front of me. You'll tell me out.
The rest of the weekend we have North Marion and Wheeling Central. That game, please note the start in the tip-off.
2:30, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be 7:30, but it is now 2:30. So North Marion and Wheeling Central tomorrow afternoon at 2:30.
All right, so some games for you to be aware of. 9:40, 20 till the hour. John McCabe is with him, the local newspapers. John, I think the big local story of the last week and a half or so has been this memorandum of understanding with Bluefield State College and the city of Wheeling for space in the OVMC building. I guess everybody knows the background of the story now. Pretty aggressive allegations made at council last week. Allegations denied by the city leadership. Then some response came back from Dr. Mosser and some others. Where are we with this right now?
Well, it looks like, again, my amateur reading is that, today, later today, West Virginia Northern and Wheeling University will hold a joint announcement. I think it's 2:30 today. That will for a new engineering program that, at least early indications are, will serve the need that Bluefield was looking to come in and fill. So if that does happen, this essentially, from the way you read the statute, will potentially put an end to Bluefield's desire to locate in Wheeling. They had, all along, and the way the state code is written, the community colleges are the ones to do the 2-year programs, and essentially have what you would call veto power over another college from 300 miles away coming and wanting to locate in Wheeling to offer programs that could be offered here. So we'll see where it goes and if it goes any further. But the most important thing is that the business community is asking. Businesses and manufacturers are asking for these programs. It doesn't really matter to me, or it shouldn't matter to you, who does them, as long as they're done. If there's a workforce need, that's where West Virginia Northern, that's their role, is to fill workforce needs. Their role is not to be really anything else. They meet the needs of the local business community. If this deal comes together, it could be good for Northern, good for the local business community, potentially good for Wheeling University as well. As we've talked, they need a lifeline of some type, and so it could
this deal would be such that you would get your 2-year degree at the and I think they're calling it engineer. Again, it hasn't officially been announced yet, but it'll be announced this afternoon. Engineering Construction Management is what they're calling it. You get a 2-year degree through the community college, but then there's an agreement they are making with Wheeling University that will automatically transfer to the 4-year program at Wheeling University. So you're right, it gives them a little additional pipeline at WU direct from the community college. One of the things that I have been saying all along in this controversy has been, if Bluefield State has what I'm calling an off-the-shelf program, if they've got an already prepared, already accredited program that they can simply move to Wheeling and not move to, but add a branch in Wheeling and deal with the same program, they've got the concepts in place, they've got the syllabus in place, they've got all that. It's just we'll do it in Wheeling as well as in Bluefield State. That is different than the colleges have been saying, well, if you'd ask us, we could have done a program as well. But now it's going to be a little bit different. Now, apparently, the community college and WU are talking about already getting their own program in place. And we have to keep in mind, John, I think that, as you guys pointed out in a story last week, there are still a lot of bureaucratic hoops that Bluefield State has to jump through. Let's assume they will jump through them all. I don't know if they will, but let's assume they'll jump through them all. It's still a time-consuming process. They've got to get HEPC approval, I think Higher Learning Commission approval, and then the Community College Accrediting Agency, and I forget what that's called, but
they all have colleges. Council for Community.
They all have to sign off on this deal for Bluefield State to come to Wheeling. So that's not going to be like boom, boom, boom. It'll be done on Tuesday.
No, and then they would still have to, obviously to build out their physical location in Wheeling, and get that, it's not something, again, that they would have. I don't even know if they could have it ready for fall of 2021. I don't even know if that would be possible. Maybe it would, at least in some semblance, but, there's a lot of work that would need to be done, for any programs, a lot of work that's going to need to be done with the Wheeling University and West Virginia Northern's program. I think in the end here, and again, this is where the mistakes were made all the way around. This wasted a lot of time and a whole lot of collective public energy, in a sense, simply because people didn't communicate. Anyone had to know that this was going to happen, that this was going to blow up the way it did. All you had to do was really give it 5 seconds of thought, and you knew that local colleges would be opposed to it, simply because, first and foremost, because of who's involved on Bluefield's end. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, so instead of, we waste all this time, and in the end, Wheeling University and West Virginia Northern are now going to move forward on their own program. In the end, servicing the region's workforce needs is what we need to make sure happens here. We need to, you, me, our collective industry needs to make sure that is we hold them accountable to that, because that is the underlying, that's the overriding issue here, is that making sure, again, if there is a need, as there were with casino, dealers and, roustabouts and things with the oil industry that Northern created programs for quickly, that's what needs to be done, is get these programs up and running and get our local manufacturers, our local companies, the workforce they need with the skill set they need coming out of college, so that they can go right in and be effective in their jobs. So that's where, again, this whole thing at the beginning, the whole up front at the beginning, just to me doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I know no one will explain it correctly, because they won't. But the fact that this deal was done without involving any of the other local colleges, with kind of that back, the back end saying goes, oh, we were going to get them involved later. Well, no, you should have gotten involved in the front. Everybody knows that. You can't argue that point.
I think you're right. There's blame to go all the way around, and you're right. There's just an awful lot of energy has been expended this week, and the problem is, it's not just energy and time, which I guess we have. It's created such ill will right now that it's going to be hard to overcome that. But I think certainly all of the council members I've talked to, and I think even the mayor and the vice mayor have said, in retrospect, they probably should have gone to the local colleges and at least informed them first.
So who's advised,
before they moved forward,
them not
and
to,
they
I guess,
didn't.
is the
So
question.
I think there was a mistake there made. Clearly, it would have been a smarter move to say, here's what Bluefield State is proposing. We think they would be a good tenant for our building, but we're curious as to what your response is. That would have been the right, smart first thing to do.
But Howard,
I also think though that the colleges and universities responding in such a really negative way did nothing but dig their own hole deeper with the presentation to council and the follow-up statements that they've made. Now, again, we'll see what happens this afternoon. I want to learn more about this program and whether how similar is it or is it not to what Bluefield State is doing. But this seems to me to be the more productive approach is, okay, has there been an identified need in the community? We'll make an effort to fill it, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, and I think, again, my cynical nature says to me, who either asked or requested that this deal not be made public? You would have thought the city, after, particularly the mayor and the vice mayor, after, as we talked a few weeks ago, 3 years ago, dealing with the two-way street issue, where they waited until the end to try to get the business community involved in changing traffic patterns downtown, and that blew up in their face. That didn't end well.
A better example would be the parking garage that originally was proposed for.
Sure.
Actually, outside our building
example,
here,
100%.
And it was all, it was not a done deal, but there were a lot of details that had been already discussed, and it didn't really become public until it seeped out. Mm-hmm. And then once again, you created a lot of misinformation going around the community, and B, a lot of ill will going around the community.
Yeah. So hopefully this is a good learning tool as much as anything for the city in effectively communicating these matters, particularly when you're bringing in another college into an area, or I think it's just the colleges hold a little different place within society than if the city were to go in there and put in another business that has other competitors in town, and again, still to this day I'll sit here and say, as long as Bluefield State doesn't get any subsidies, and they had it in their MOU, had negotiations on a 1-year essentially lease deal. I don't think anyone should have any problem with it as long as they get all their approvals from the state, and they're offering a program that's not competing obviously here locally, and the city's not subsidizing that in any way. That's how the free market works. I think part of the problem. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
John, I think you and I talked about this either on or off the air. I can't remember, but the reality is that the claim by the local colleges and universities that it's sort of their turf and nobody should get into their turf. Well, you've got all kinds of online colleges right now offering degree programs to local folks, and they're taking them. I know people who've got degrees from University of Phoenix and what's the other one? Southern New Hampshire, another big one. So, I mean, the idea that you're the only outlet for higher ed in the community, I think, is a false argument.
Yes.
But the question is, can you? And maybe it should boil down to if the city wants to work out a deal with Bluefield State in which no city subsidies are involved, lease them the space, and assuming Bluefield State gets approval, let the marketplace determine it.
Exactly. Then the city
they can put out their own plan, their own program, this community, or what do they call it, construction and something management program, put that out, and Bluefield State brings theirs in, and we'll see, where the students choose to go.
Well, and here's another question I think that needs to be answered at some point, and I think this goes right to why Bluefield State why this is even a discussion, and something I think the folks at West Virginia Northern need to do a really serious look at. Bluefield State is doing surveys across West Virginia, apparently, and surveying manufacturers, and found a need up here, a need that our local colleges were not meeting. As I mentioned earlier, West Virginia Northern appears to have some culpability here as well in terms of either not staying on top of the region's workforce needs, not communicating well enough with local business leaders as to what programs they might need to, to grow their businesses or to, fill existing needs. I think there needs to be some real discussion at Northern among its board and its leadership as to, Bluefield State, again, unless there's something far more nefarious here than you and I could ever think possible, Bluefield State didn't come up here to waste their time and waste their energy.
Right.
There's a real need here, judging by their interest. And West Virginia Northern, which is tasked with meeting those needs, they need to find out why they were behind the ball on this. They shouldn't have been the last to know that there was a need for this program.
Yeah, whether or not the city informed them that Bluefield State was interested, that's part of their responsibility. So again, I think everybody bears some culpability.
100%.
And the problem now is going to be going forward with such bad blood out there. Boy, I just hope they can get around it. Biff, do I have to go to my next guest yet or not?
Nope, you guys are good.
All right, John, real quick, because I still don't understand why in God's name do we not have a contract with Greg Stewart of the Ohio County Development Authority?
Well, I think part of the problem is just the process through which the Development Authority meets. They meet usually once a month. This has now been a couple months since they have first approved the contract, and then kind of realized that they did it incorrectly, violated just about every open meetings law you can think of, and how they negotiated the deal and how the contract came together, etc. So I think now what they've been doing for the last two meetings is kind of creating the correct path to adequately fulfill the open meetings requirements and get a new contract for Greg Stewart. Now, I think what's going to be very interesting.
I get that, and at the last meeting they decided to, the last meeting they had to rescind the earlier approved contract because it was done improperly. I get that. Now, I'm reading from your story here, further negotiations will continue on it. Is there any, I thought we had it pretty well figured out what this it just seems to me like this is something that should be relatively simple. I get the process, but something's going on, it seems to me.
Well, I might agree with you, and I wonder if the contract that comes out here, in the next month or so, or next 2 weeks, I guess, is what Commissioner Abraham requested, is going to look decidedly different than the one signed a few months back. That's what I think may be at play. I don't have any inside knowledge of that one way or the other, but I get the feeling and kind of read between the lines as you are, and that's what it looks like, is either it's going to be a smaller amount, which I probably would think not, but maybe more accountability, if you recall, and I think we reported on it, the initial contract that they wanted to do with Greg Stewart would have kept him a county employee. After he, and then, of course, everything got changed. People got kicked off the board for changing the contract, and next thing you know, Greg has his own company and is managing the Highlands through, the name of the acronym just went out of my head, but any which way. The
new company,
Yeah, through this new company. So I wonder now if there are not going to be potentially more checks. I don't think they could, I know he's already retired from the county, so I don't see that happening. But maybe there's just going to be more controls upon, their expectations of him. I just don't know, but it feels like something along those lines is at play here.
It just feels to me like it's something, normally I wouldn't spend a lot of time on, the contract of an employee that, but it just feels like, come on, this shouldn't require this much effort and this much work.
Right, I agree.
Or a contract employee or an actual employee, make that decision. What are you going to pay him? I don't get why we keep dragging this out, but I'm not a commissioner, or a development authority member, so I guess I just plain don't know.
Well, hopefully, it looks like their plan is to have it pretty well wrapped up, in the next several weeks, maybe at their next meeting at the latest, to have a contract out, and then everyone have time to review it, and then vote on it at their next board meeting in April. Interesting stuff.
All right, John, I appreciate it. Going to wrap it up for the day. We'll do it again next week. Are you around next week? It's a holiday week, technically, right? Isn't next week?
The Sunday
that I'll be here.
April. Yeah, I'll be here. It's Good Friday on Friday. Maybe we'll have a Good Friday. Maybe we'll talk about only good things in Wheeling. Isn't that how we started the show today?
30 seconds and we're done.
That's it. We're done. Wheeling's a great place to live, Howard. See ya.
It is. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Bye.
Newspaper editor John McCabe here on the Watchdog Morning Show. No word from Bob, Biffy?
Nope, still waiting.
Okay, that's fine. I just, we shall. Sometimes he gets tied up in his work over at the Big 7, and we don't get a chance to to get him on, which is perfectly okay. It does give me a chance to make one fast, quick reminder that it is tournament time, and with so many games going on, who wants to bet just one game, right? Well, that's why you can use the parlays on FanDuel Sportsbook. Combine bets from different games for an even bigger win. And guess what? FanDuel will help you if your parlay doesn't go quite the way you planned it, all right? They'll give you up to $25 back in site credit if your parlay of 3 legs or more falls 1 leg short. That's 1 parlay per day, each day of the tournament for new and existing users. And that's among the reasons FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook app. Always hooking us up, easy to use app, lots of bet options, money gets to you in as quickly as 24 hours when you win. So if you're thinking about signing up, right now is a perfect time to do it. Download FanDuel Sportsbook, use my name, Monroe, in the promo code box. That way they know we sent you. You must be 21 or older, present physically in West Virginia or Pennsylvania. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Maximum refund $25. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. FanDuel Sportsbook, more ways to win. Well, tournament time over the weekend. Some of you will be watching carefully because some of you are in our Watchdog Madness brackets. So good luck to those of you who are still in the Sweet 16 on our Watchdog Madness brackets. And we'll see how things work out over the weekend, and we'll find out what happened on Monday. But, Biffy, I think for now it's time for me to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. I got to go. I got to get out of here. Kercheval's got the comms coming up next, and as long as Teddy tells me it's all right to be back on Monday, I shall return from the go-round of the big gig Monday morning at 7 o'clock. Are you going to come back with me, Biff?
I'll come back Monday, ready for another week.
We're going to keep on doing it till we get it right.
That'll be a long time.
You say it, brother.
Caught outside, and you must know, no king.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
The U.S. population has got...
All right, Biffy. I guess that worked out okay. Nah, I didn't have much to do, but we got a bunch of just some stuff in and some conversation, so sometimes I get too tied up with the guests. It's good to have a little extra time sometimes, so that worked out well. I don't think I have anything scheduled for Monday. Probably do somebody from the legislature to preview things, or Brad or someone, and who knows what else might happen. So, on Monday, over the weekend, do we get down to what happens this weekend with Madness, with the tournament? Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Well, we'll have a chance to do a little more Madness talk, Watchdog Madness, Monday and going to Tuesday. So, okay, sounds good. I'll be around all day. Oh, God, somebody's calling my phone already.
Speaking.
Honest to God. All right, if you need anything, give me a call, Biffy. I'll be around all day. All right, you do too. I appreciate your help today. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. All right, bye.
Several southern states. You're listening to ABC News.
Hello, good neighbor. Pat Boone here. You know, for years I've been warning Americans about the secret war on cash by big government, targeting your money and your privacy. Now, recent reports confirm that some banks are refusing to cash checks, and cash is being confiscated from innocent citizens. I'm serious. It's truly shocking. The folks at Swiss America have detailed all the dirty little government secrets in their free report, The Secret War on Cash, and it's available now by calling 800-289-2646. Why don't you write that down? 800-289-2646, because time's running out to take action. Don't become the next victim in this battle. Get The Secret War on Cash. Call 800-289-2646, and be sure to tell them Pat Boone gave you this number, 800-289-2646.
In the nearly 2 months of protests since the military coup in Myanmar, at least 300 demonstrators have been killed by security